Muri Zimbabwe, muri sei kumativi mana ese enyika muno muZimbabwe nevari kunze kwenyika vari kutiona vari muSouth Africa kuri kunyangadza Jacinda uko kwaari kutaura zvokuti uchapinda mumastreets musi wa31 achienda kuembassy yekuZimbabwe kunoratidzira in support, in solidarity nevana veZimbabwe, understanding the problems that maZimbabweans anosangana nayo yekuti nyika yavo, government yavo haina kufanana neSouth Africa yekuti vanhu vane mvumo, vane kodzero yekuratidzira vasina kuvhundusigwa. So mune Zimbabwe right now tine headline yedu musoro wenyaya wakanzi iwo watch life Mnangagwa Azonzi Dzvii. And that's an important headline because as of right now, panguva ino pachirongwa chedu every day na 7 the Zim update neni Super Nexus pano pamuzinda wevanhu the Mutapa Times YouTube channel, pane vamwe vachazotiona ku Facebook ku Inside Africa Network, but probably anenge ava mangwana. So if you want to catch us live, make sure you go by YouTube, you subscribe to the Mutapa Times, and every day na 7 you come here. So Mnangagwa abatwa kuti Dzvii reZimbabwe, ma developments that have been happening today within the deep state, within the people that really matter to Mnangagwa, the people that Mnangagwa is scared of, the deep state, ma retired generals ane mari, ane power, ane control over ma military barracks muno muZimbabwe, avo vekuti most of them have been because to Mnangagwa kunyarara kuva neutral, it means you are in support. Kana uchimurega achita zvaari kuita, it means you are in support, but they were just waiting for somebody to approach them. And as we speak, as I speak right now, Super Nexus nasuri musi wa 29 July tiri pa live pamuzinda wevanhu pano paMutapa Times muri Zimbabwe. Ma developments have been happening and the news dzasvika pa news desk. So, Zimbabwe, you have to listen to this because things are happening. So we told you about my meetings are behind closed doors, where my generals who have been quite, my retired generals, the influential ZANU-PF top brass, they have been approached by Chiwenga faction, which has faces like Henry Mchena, inema faces a republic like Comrade Nox Chivero. You see, the beautiful thing, chakaitwa ne Chiwenga faction, muri Zimbabwe, ndechekuti they didn't say their names. They didn't say their names out public. Kureva kuti at this stage, what remains happening ndechekuti vanhu vacho vanenge vachifungirwa naEmmerson Mnangagwa kuti ndevake, vanenge vasiri vake. So I want to say this because I was talking to Comrade Takawira vakanditi mfano wangu Nexus. It's a revolution, and a revolution takes time, and we are as Zimbabweans trying to get into a position where as Zimbabweans we all have dignity, we all have equal rights. We don't have a king amongst us, we don't have a dynasty in our country. And so tell the people that a revolution takes time, and in a revolution, especially a revolution peaceful, yakafana neinoitika muZimbabwe neiri about to happen muZimbabwe, kauri yakatomboitika muZimbabwe muna 2017, what happens ndechekuti there is silence and a lot of kuvandirana. Pane silence nekuvandirana kuzhinji muri Zimbabwe. So tukutaura panyaya yaEmmerson Mnangagwa abatwa kunzvi, right? So pane silence nekuvandirana kudaro, chinoitika ndechekuti somebody, kana kuti the guy everybody believes is the leader, and in this case muZimbabwe muna 2026 it's Vice President Chiwenga. He has been given the mandate by the generals vakafanana na Comrade Geza, kubva na Comrade Geza. He has been given the mandate to lead this revolution, to take away the country from the hands of self-proclaimed kings. people who are selfish to the extent that they don't want to steal a company, they don't want to steal a bank, they don't want to steal a mine, but they want to steal a country. Ndo atoti ma-colonizers, ma-imperialists, akafanana na Emerson Mnangagwa muri yeZimbabwe. And it's very bad. But very bad kudaro, right now, ma-developments aswera achiitika, information iri pa-news desk pano pamzinda wevanhu ndeyekuti inotaridza kuti Emerson Mnangagwa is being defeated slowly but surely. And remember this, politics, what matters in politics more than anything is perception, how people see things, what everybody is thinking about a situation. So right now, my generals, my retired generals, the guys who hold power and influence over my military barracks, kuma provinces akasiyana siyana mZimbabwe, those guys, a lot of them have been approached by the known guys wakafana na Henry Muchena, or getting got by the Henry Muchena team, which is the Chiwenga faction. And remember, Chiwenga faction is not made up of Chiwenga's fans. Chiwenga's faction is not made up of people who love and praise General Chiwenga. No, it's made up of people who don't want a dynasty being established in Zimbabwe. And those people are almost everybody. Let me tell you, the only people who want to see Mnangagwa remain in power, his family remain in power, is just a couple. Vanhu vava havasvikikana kuti 50 zvaita kubwana comrade Geza, havasvikikana kuti 50. It's the guys Zvigananda straight izvo pachazvo, tichitaura naTagwire, tichitaura naTungwarara, tichitaura naWikino Chivayo, and then vamwe vari kubenefita from Zvigananda direct, but vanhu vava havambopfuuri 50. You understand? Pane ma-talks, pane ma-accusations ekuti vanhu vakaita sana General Matatu vakapiwa $1 million, vakazopiwa 100,000, vakazopiwa chi. But what's that? What's that to people who know kuti if they remove Mnangagwa right now, they stand a chance to be the next president? If they stand a chance to be the next vice president, the stakes are too high. Mnangagwa wakamira patambo, and anytime unodonedzwa. So muri Zimbabwe, tiri ipapapo ndiri kuda kuti inini tipinde munyaya yataurwa nepolice, because police just guaranteed citizens of Zimbabwe kuti ma-citizens of Zimbabwe kana musi wa31 mukatevera mutemo imimi, mukaita ma-demonstrations enyu peacefully, mukaita ma-demonstrations enyu according to the law, then the police will be there to protect you. The police will be there to protect you. Can you believe it? So this is Zimbabwe Republic Police, their official X account, va poster a statement, press statement. So let's get into the press statement and read between the lines. So press statement 29th July 2026. ZRP assures Zimbabweans of peace and security in the country. The Zimbabwe Republic Police assures Zimbabweans of peace and security in the country. The police has made deployments in all parts of the country for effective maintenance of law and order. In this regard, Zimbabweans should feel free to engage in normal day-to-day activities without hindrance. The public should feel free to report any criminal activities which include threats, harassment, or intimidation to the police at any nearest police station or national complaints desk. Wait, I want to repeat something. The public should feel free to report any criminal activities which include threats, harassment, or intimidation to the police at any nearest police station. Now, Mure Zimbabwe, this statement right here, what more do you want as Zimbabweans? This is Commissioner P. Nyati. Paulo Nyati, Chief Staff Officer, Press and Public Relations to the Commissioner General of Police General Headquarters. Barikuti muri Zimbabwe. You are free to carry your normal day to day. Kana uchida kuenda kuita business rako, uita business rako. Vanoda kuita demonstration, voita demonstration. And if anybody intimidates you, fonera police. Remember, muri Zimbabwe. Remember, pano pamuzinda wevanhu. Yesterday, I reported about an assessment yakaitwa neintelligence yaPresident Mnangagwa. Yatakaudzwa isusu na comrade takawira. Vachiti it said more than 75% of my police chakazo, so police commissioner, chakazo, police, all of these guys who are leaders in the police, they are willing to follow the law, they are willing to follow the constitution, and they are willing to stand by the people. Izvunhu zvaiitwa neintelligence people, CIO inenge ichinda ichiinvestigate ichipinda ichitaura nemupurisa uyo yakapfeka casual ichizvidza secasual handiti, and then vouya nethat information, which also that same thing ndo chakaleader to the mashuffles, recent shuffles atakaona achiitwa neCIO, Central Intelligence Organization. Mnangagwa doesn't like anybody coming to him with truth, telling him the truth. Okay, so in reality, this is what the people are saying. In reality, Mapurisa Pachao, they are not in favor of protecting the government because they are not getting paid. They are not interested in supporting the government because they are not fans of just watching Wikinochuvai living his life. Achitora zimukadzi hlonza oramba onotora irimwe luluiri kozviri zvari kusipakwa ane 10 maRolls Royce ane chigananda ende zvakawanda zvigananda. And police is not interested in that. They are interested in mari inopinda muhomwe dzavo. Kana muchiri at the end of the month vanopindigwa $230 after pabviswa mataxes. What does that help them? Nothing. More Zimbabwe. So this is the police telling Zimbabweans right now, Kuti, the public should, I have to repeat, let me say case and repeat. The public should feel free to report any criminal activities, which include threats, because in truth, issues to here, Zimbabweans, Kuti ma demonstrations as the public, as the opposition, who do we threaten? Nobody. Who threatens people? Everybody knows what it is. Some people don't threaten now. And the police will out if you receive any threats, Musote one, or anytime report to the police. If you receive any intimidation, wapinde home street uru demonstrate peacefully. If you are intimidated, report to the police. And it is so. Zimbabwe, tiri ipapap. Tine a very important update from retired Lieutenant General Winston Sigauke. Yawapa just a couple of hours ago. We have to get into this. Things with my generals. This is one of the leading generals in the Chwenga faction. And you see, this general, when he speaks things as they are, reality. He's not, trying to sell Zimbabweans a dream. He's not trying to give Zimbabweans fake hope or anything. He's speaking things as they are. Azonzi ne X. I hope you are still watching. Tiri live. Comment section more. Nruda kuverenga right now. Ndiri kumashure kwe dashboard. Streaming software yandinayo. Things are happening. Right. Chaloda. Murukuchuona ime. Right. Gachipindire. This is important. So, General Varikutaura, right, let me get into it. Hanzi, ZANU-PF must choose between its founding values and the Zvigananda cartel. So, ndizandapinda kumberi, ndombotaura about this. Zimbabwe, zvatiri kuona muna 2026 zvichiitika. Zvatiri kuona zvirikutaurwa muna 2026 zvedynasty, zvekingdom, zvamunhu mutapa, zvekubanyika, zvekuita sei. This is not ZANU-PF. This is not ZANU-PF. haizi ZANU-PF iri kuita zvinhu izvi. Hatina mbogara taona ZANU-PF yakadai muri Zimbabwe. Haizi ZANU-PF. So you better listen. Handiti. Kana vanhu veZANU-PF vakutaura. This is not ZANU-PF. Right, hanzi? I write today not as a politician but as a soldier who wore this country's uniform when Zvigananda was not even a whisper. When the only cartel we knew was Ian Smith's Rhodesian Front and its foreign backers. I write because I have watched with growing alarm how a small clique of entrepreneurs and briefcase businessmen has hijacked the soul of a liberation movement that was built on blood, not on bank balances. The cartel has no loyalty to the party. Zvigananda, those who accumulated obscene wealth not through production but through proximity to power, have never fought for this country. They did not carry rifles through Chimoio or Ronyazonia. Their war was fought in boardrooms, tender committees, and offshore accounts. Today, they seek something even more dangerous than wealth. They seek to convert economic capture into political succession, grooming a dynasty that would outlive the very revolution it feeds off. Zimbabwe, I don't know, memshida kuudzwa in what ways kuti mu understand kuti tiripa nguva yachumbetu, nguva yakaoma. We have to reverse this. Vakafa vanacha vakaona. The dead have seen nothing. Vana Robert Mugabe vakafa, they saw nothing. They have never seen a black man, a Zimbabwean, an African trying to colonize his own people. They've never seen this. Vana Chumbetu, vana Tongai Moyo, vana Dewa, they've never seen this. We are facing a new form of oppression. Yekuti isusu netuma ama 2K. Now we are the generation to fight this. A new form of colonization, a dangerous one. But when you are colonized by the one who looks like you, they will play all kinds of tricks and it will be hard for you to figure out. But we are seeing it before it happens. Right, Hanzi, this is not conspiracy theory. It is the plain arithmetic of patronage. When individuals amass fortunes disproportionate to any legitimate enterprise and then insert themselves into succession conversations as kingmakers, the party must ask whose interest is actually being served. Now, this is important. Vaenda umberi general. Hanzi, General Chiwenga's claim is institutional, not personal. General Constantino Chiwenga's path to leadership is not built on tender contracts. Well, we have to admit it. General Chiwenga's way to leadership yaka build on removing Mugabe for doing nonsense. We saw Mugabe doing nonsense directly in front of us, and he was removed by General Chiwenga. So his career is built on some legitimacy. Right? It is built on decades inside the structures that founded this nation, the liberation war, the integration of the armed forces, the defense of Zimbabwe's sovereignty through the most difficult sanctions years. So, Zimbabwe, remember, this program, the Zim Update, we have a lot of stories right now. And the Nas Kurku Trenda, Kurku Pisa, so stay here to get pinned Mnyaya Togbanan, na retired general Ava, and then Pane Zimwe also. Right? And that is a different kind of legitimacy than the legitimacy of a bank account. A ZANU-PF that chooses cartel-anointed dynasty over institutional liberation-rooted leadership is a ZANU-PF that has forgotten why it exists. The party was not formed to protect the fortunes of a handful entrepreneurs. It was formed to protect the land, the people, and the sovereignty of Zimbabwe. Dynasty politics, whether whispered about it in Harare's corridors or openly campaigned for by cartel-aligned voices represents a betrayal of the one person, one vote democratic culture the liberation struggle was meant to entrench. No family, however connected, is entitled to inherit a nation. Succession must run through structures, through the party's own institutions, and through leadership tested by service, not through boardroom deals struck by men whose primary qualifications is proximity to money. Mresbabwe, this is deep. I do not write as an enemy of ZANU-PF. Vanhu vezanu ava vari kutaura kuti no boys taakuenderera. Hanzi, I write as one of its founding generation, urging the party to look hard at who is shaping its future and why. The choice ahead is not merely about individuals, it is about whether the revolution remains a movement of the people or becomes the permanent property of a cartel and its chosen heirs. Mresbabwe, just imagine tichiuya pano pa the Mtapa Times tichikupai news dzokuti Sean Mnangagwa na Mnangagwa Junior are having a fight. They are fighting its power struggle to who is going to lead us next. Imagine that kind of politics. Is that what you want? Kunzwa imititaro zvima brothers kuti ari kugwisana kuti anotonga ndiani next, rather than talk about the people and who the people chooses, and the people is you. It's you and me. We are the people, the ones who have power. Right now in Zimbabwe, the people all this other time have been considered, dignified, respectable, and, important, because any politician would not talk nonsense. The people will have to vote for me or vote me out. That's what democracy is. Everybody is important. Even a politician who is a billionaire, they have to come. Kuna moms vari kutengesa pamusika matomatis, make her understand, convince her about all kinds of things so that he can get that woman's vote. But if you take away that right from the people, the billionaire no longer have to come to the people. They no longer care. They can be stubborn, they can be whatever, as long as they know they can buy the parliament. So Mnangagwa already proved to us that he is a colonialist. So Mresbabwe, hence the choice ahead is not merely about individuals. It is about whether the revolution remains a movement of the people or becomes the permanent property of a cartel and its chosen heirs. General Chiwenga's candidacy deserves to be judged on these bases: institutional loyalty versus cartel capture, liberation credentials versus dynastic entitlement. That is the debate ZANU-PF cannot afford to avoid. Retired Lieutenant General Winston Sigauke Mapranga. Okay. Zimbabwe. And this is at this stage, what do you want me to say? But at this stage, I have to say something. Because if I don't say anything, I would have sold out the Zimbabwean people. I would have sold out the people the Mtapa Times who follow us, who watch us, who like every video, if I don't say anything. But I'm gonna say something. Inini adinyarare mu Zimbabwe. Vari kuti chaka ngandimbokuudzai muri Zimbabwe. Ndolambokuudzai about what is happening to me right now. Muchitona chibudisa information iri very important, information iri very useful to Zimbabwe. And some they'll be saying, hey, ana super muri kunyepa, hey, ana super muri kuita so. But you can see the impact of the information. Because right now, in Zimbabwe, the regime is looking for me directly. But tetichi dojama bullets. Takabudikira kuseri. Ai wow. Isusu. So, in Zimbabwe, I'm about the people. I'm about you. I'm about me. I'm about the establishment of a real democracy. Munyika ye Zimbabwe. I'm about the real establishment of real democracy. So, toda kupinda mu Zimbabwe. Takatarisana na 31 July. Nasi it's what 29. Takatsarana na 31 July, a lot of organizations now, you know, the Mashingo Mira, the Mira Mashingo just said something, chokuti, we cannot ignore it. So I'm about to get into it, so that my Zimbabweans, my ordinary Zimbabweans, Afanin, understands. The Mira Mashingo yataura something very important. In fact, pa X up, Twitter, the Mira Mashingo pa X. So here is the thing. But first, regard to Peter Muchi, what they said, and in a show that CAA 3, which is Constitutional Amendment Act number 3, is dividing the nation more as opposed to President Mnangagwa's supposed argument of bringing unity. ZAP, a political party with immense sympathy in Matabeleland, has joined many other groups and notified the police of its demo on July 31, 2026. The demo against Constitutional Amendment Act number 3 will be held at Africa Unity Square in Harare. The convener is Mutulisi Hanana, the party secretary general. This is bad. This is bad. Emmerson Mnangagwa has been successful in dividing Zimbabweans on all levels. Dividing Zimbabweans on a constitutional level, which means wabata munu wese. Wakanganisa constitution munu wese. Dividing Zimbabweans on tribal level, wazama yo ku ita appeal kwatiri mashona, and that's bad. Even as first we are wrong. Iye mushona muzimbabwen chiwenga mushona chamisa mushona saka aruda kuzvidza special pakudi handiti, but Mnangagwa samwe ringiri chifungo zvakazvididi tikuti pasinewe, because this is not about tribalism, this is about principles. Vanhu, they don't care kuti ruba kupi as long as muhomwe mune mari and amna mari. So let's read ZAP just a little bit. I'm not going to read the whole statement, or should I? But I'm not going to. But let me read a little bit so that Zimbabweans, I think one ZAP, Zimbabwe African People's Union, Totongo Pura, it's like I want a picture. No, let's get into their minds. Hanzi, 24 July 2026. Ndopaka issue at this thing. That's 29. So, Grogti, my statements akatoshika mapurisa and approval yakatoshika. Sans the regulating authority, Harare Central Police District, DISPO, Officer Commanding, Harare Central Police Station, Zimbabwe Republic Police, Harare, DSA or Madam, whether Murise or Madam, this is notification of intention to hold a peaceful public gathering on 31 July 2026. I write to give notice, as I hereby do, in terms of Section 7, Subsection 1 of the Maintenance of Peace and Order Act, of the intention of the Zimbabwe African People's Union, ZAP, to hold a peaceful public gathering held for the purpose of showing opposition to the recently passed the Constitution of Zimbabwe Amendment Number 3 Act. The details of the public gathering are as follows. A. Governance of the meeting in terms of Section 7, Subsection 2A of MOPA laws. Name Mutulis Hanana, Governor, Convener on behalf of ZAP. Designation ZAP Secretary General. Conduct Chakadaro. I'm sure you can see Zimbabweans. Address 8 Rad Road, North End, Bulawayo. Name Mr. Derek Katsenga, Deputy Convener on behalf of ZAP. This is another one. Designation ZAP Vice President. Conduct Chakadaro. Address 8 Rad Road, North End, Bulawayo. B. Name of the organization in terms of Section 7, Subsection 2B of MOPA, Zimbabwe African People's Union. C. Right, MOPA, I think is from Section 57 to 61, from Section 59 to 61 of the Zimbabwe Constitution. And right, no Panama MOPA laws. I think so, if I'm not mistaken. Vanoruzi will correct us in the comment section right now. Change my comments in. remember triple live pano padza mutapatems neni wenyu super nexus wechidhaka. Right, Hands B, name of the organization in terms of section 7, alright, C, tatapata C, purpose of the gathering in terms of section 7, subsection 2C of MOPA. The purpose of the gathering is to express opposition to the recent passing of the Constitution of Zimbabwe Amendment Number 3 Act by the legislature and its promulgation by the executive. The basis of ZAP's opposition is that the amendments ought to have, in the view of ZAP, first been undermined rights enshrined in the Constitution of Zimbabwe, including Section 67, which enshrines political rights as fundamental rights. D. Time, duration and date of the gathering in terms of Section 7, subsection 2D of MOPA, date 31 July 2026, time 1000 hours to 1300 hours, kuvana 10 a.m. kushkana 1 p.m. E. The place where the gathering is to be held, Africa Unity Square, Harare Central Business District. Zimbabwe. This is something the police have been informed about. With the police, and let's say that's another story. But ZAP is one of the parties that liberated this country. So when they speak, us as Zimbabweans, we listen. Not because they are superior, not because they are weak, but because they are heroes. One of the political parties to liberate this country. One of the leadership to liberate this country. Zimbabwe is up ya pindra. Tine sungano yevan, but this is a whole different story. Tine also the Zimbabwe Unity Organization ichibva South Africa. Tinana Jacinda Ngovese vari kujoina this whole thing, vari kuzomacha kuma embassies eZimbabwe mu South Africa, which will bring all of Zimbabwe international attention, which is very important. Right, muri Zimbabwe. Now, tiri ipapapa, tiri politics. Tawakuda kuya kuna Nelson Chamisa himself. Nelson Chamisa, as of right now, Zimbabweans think, like a lot of Zimbabweans, vandotaura now, is total nanga. Vakumana vari kutaridza kuti Nelson Chamisa, faith yavo muna Nelson Chamisa ka iri at zero. Nelson Chamisa vamwe vangaita kuti iwe usandiudza nezva Nelson Chamisa ndokudira kana mbama wangu ita easy zvaita sei aita sei Nelson Chamisa wakuda kundirovera Nelson Chamisa handiti. But Zimbabweans seem to have come to a certain conclusion yavaita yekuti Nelson Chamisa is the most, inandidi kutaura zvakawanda, but varinga vachiti most useless and hey, umana, why muchijaja Chamisa kudai so? Maybe chiri kutrayawo chimufesi ichi zvichingorambao. Mukazotowa most useless. Right, so regai tipinde kustatement rakandwa naChamisa nhasi musi wa29 July kuma 10 past 9 a.m. So chachiri chimuonazi iko zvinhu inews dza7 and right now ndakatarisa nguva it's 7:36 kureva taane 36 minutes tiri live. 36 minutes still live. But you know what? There's a lot that is happening in Zimbabwe. A lot of political developments. Because right now, in this today's broadcast, I want to tell you the truth. It's all Zimbabwe news. We can't even go to the regional and the global level because Zakawandisa is local. So, Anzana Chamisa, Muvunzu, what is to be done? The key question that should be asked in the consideration of all national decisions, processes and policies is, Where are the citizens in all of this? Mukomana ndobva aenda kumbera achiti hashtag where are the citizens, hashtag citizenocracy ndobva apera ipapo. So sometimes muri Zimbabwe ndisingade kutaura zvakawanda, because you know, when a leader, an opposition leader like Nelson Chamisa posts on X, which means it's not only me ndazviverenga nevanhu vakawanda, so ndisati ndapa comment yangu, because vamwe vanozvoti zvikazodai, ndisati ndapa comment yangu ndoda tichidai so muri Zimbabwe tipinde mucomment section yepa X panapa tinzwe kuti mamwe maZimbabweans ari kuti chii, and then I will give my comment. So mese muri kuona, because this is a live, and this is a live, tiri live, hatisi kubroadcast. Muri kuona mese mukatichisikurula kudai muri kuona. So tuta hanzi presidential spokesperson babvunza hanzi, where are the citizens in all of this? The citizenocratic barometer. Urati measure something. Zvikanzi na the future president pasina hondo mumastreets muri kupedza nguva mukuru. Lead from the front baba. Itai chirume gaga kana kuti mukafira mujeri ndizvozvo, handi ndo politics dzacho. Mukomana ndo ari kuseka. Muri Zimbabwe chimobvisa ikakuseka karumberi. Indoda upama statement ndoda pama uruverenga, because you know ma statements akadai hanzi pasina hondo mumastreets muri kupedza nguva mukuru. Lead from the front baba. Itai chirume gaga kana kuti kana mukafira mujeri ndizvozvo, handi ndo politics dzacho. Manje Nelson Chamisa seems to be a weak man, kuita senge Joshua Maponga. Nelson Chamisa seems to be a weak man kunge Joshua Maponga. Don't worry muri Zimbabwe, in this live broadcast tichasvika isusu patichataura about Joshua Maponga, because Joshua Maponga is involved, don't worry. But retipinde ku muzukuru wa gogo hanzi good morning the citizens, President, His Excellency, the citizens but must be at the center of every decisions from community level, constituents and national discuss. I strongly believe the new that's incoming will be by the people for the people. Hashtag chapkati, hashtag tiriwero nanero. Muri Zimbabwe, this is a deep Chamisa supporter. You can hear the language, and I don't want to criticize Chamisa, but ndikuti nini, as of right now, yes, ndobvuma kuti Chamisa wakatengesa. I'm sorry my people, I love you, and you know I love unity, and I love to all of us come together, you know, behind one person like Nelson Chamisa. But Chamisa wakatora mari, and Chamisa uri kubvuma zvinhu zvakapata zvokuti izvo, rather than support or keep quiet when it comes to 31 July protests. Chamisa anenge achingodzamba achizama to stop the people from protesting, from demonstrating according to the constitution. Muso 31 what will not face is lost. But anyway, I don't want to say Chamisa is lost, because Chamisa is not the problem. After all, problem is ZANU-PF and its leader ichi chimfesi chakanzi now 2037. I photo iri kubva kutafi the man hanzi na global past. Remember tipa ma comments aripa post ya Nelson Chamisa yaari kutaura zina basa hanzi na global past. This is the question that should have been asked when ZANU started talking about amending the constitution. Instead, you rubbished the whole idea of discussing the constitution because you said it didn't exist. It's too late to do anything. We will be lucky to have elections in 2037. So first of all, global pastor, vari kutoti Chamisa wakatitengesa kudhara. Question yari kubvunza kuti where are the citizens, waifanira wakaibvunza kudhara. Now tichatova here nemavotes muna 2037. Now global pastor, this guy is too pessimistic. Muri Zimbabwe, he got a negative mind. So ndoda ngoti kwamuri nevamwe vanofunga saglobal pastor muri Zimbabwe, we are going to have elections. Kwete kuti kuna 2030, kuna 2037 or anything. We are going to have elections muna 2028. Sezvatakabvumirana muconstitution yedu by the people for the people ya 2013. Do you understand that part? Believe me. Havana power vanava. Vakadefeatwa kudhara. So let me read 2 more comments. Tisatapinda ku next nyaya iri kupisa muZimbabwe. Hanzi naIke Mbava. What is to be done? Where are the citizens in all of this? That's rich coming from you. When you walked out of CCC, did you consult the citizens? Or was that a leadership decision? Citizens first only when it suits you? Okay, Mbava, Ike Mbava. Gumbore Shumba. Bora tata kutokuti uri Nigerian. But mkomana ari kubvunza or musikana ari kubvunza a very important thing. Hanzi wanga uripi wakatadza nei kubvunza macitizens kuti ndobuda here muCCC, you all of a sudden wakangokaruka wabuda muCCC. Nhasi wakutiudza zina basi. Apa the guys are addressing Nelson Chamisa. So let's read the last comment. Tisatapinda munyaya inopisa inotevera. Hanzi na Malvin Gudyanga, forward president. So we don't want to miss. I don't think I have to say anything there. Otherwise, if I say anything there, I'll just offend my followers, my fans, and also Chamisa. So I'm not going to say anything there. But Chandaguita say about is, let me talk about Joshua Maponga and his request for CAB 4. So I didn't want to repeat this story because Namboitaura during the day, but I have to repeat it. And as a matter of fact, I have to play just a little bit. So now this video, Joshua Maponga, ya trend all over Twitter, X, all over YouTube, etc. But now, Truiwana Palini, Stasia. She's a political person. Sometimes she knows but you know what, we love her because sometimes she's a brain, but most of the time, kananga chingo tauri sa Lini Stasia. But this is not about Lini Stasia. Regaiti Joserika video, Joshua Maponga. I know my people. I know.
The subject of a queen, or the subject of a king sitting somewhere in some Can't we just apply our mind and use the same democratic system to create what I want to call now CAB 4? CAB 4. CAB 3 was to extend the term of a president. Tier CAB 3. Let's do CAB 4. Zimbabwe again will lead the way to become the first African state to break away from democracy back into monarchy. I have declared we were the first to take the land. We will be the first again to break away from democracy and
Shimomira a second. Boss nduda uti vaku nyengwa nitumashoko tuma weak people kadaizo. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, wait for me. Ndichakupa analysis after that player journey. Vamboto na maskati. Remember, this analysis and is different, so you still have to watch. Mirai, don't be confused, don't be bought by nonsense, my people. Alright, get to Joshua Maponga. Because you know what I love in the Super Nexus, you know, Kachita as a democracy is to give everybody a voice, a chance to be heard, and then you criticize, and whatever the people ends up deciding, that's the truth. That's why in Rukupa a space kuna Joshua Maponga rutaura na bas. Because I know some hardliners who are like, Super Nexus, you are the only guy we trust panapa YouTube, we trust panapa Facebook, but now you are playing this nonsense here, Joshua Maponga. Why are you doing it? You know, stay straight on our business. You go opposite. Satombo players, my ideas, Joshua Maponga. I understand, but don't worry. Wait for my analysis. So let's play this.
We go for the monarch. Stupid Africans get offended by your own kings and you pussyfoot around other people's kings. Hey, Mr. Maponga, Mr. Maponga. But Mr. Maponga, my foot. I'm not Mr. Maponga, man. Never been to Britain and received an award and conferred to me I'm Mr. Who. Mr. Who, I'm not a subject of a queen. I'm not a subject of a king sitting somewhere in some Iceland, in some cold areas of Britain. Think, African children. Our weakest link are our educated community. Fantasize, sitting around talking lots of English. I want to have a debate, a full confrontational debate. Call BT, call Tendai BT himself, call Mahere, call Ostalos, and call Chamisa. 6 of them. Put them there. Single-handedly. Talk lots of English. Hey, our democracy, constitution, subsection number 5, constitution, subsection number 15, 16. 16 what? What has changed from 16 to 14 to subsection 98? You're slow to think. You have footnotes in your own history. Parrots regurgitating other people's ideologies. And you hate to think structuring your own ideologies. You think you're smart enough to perfect democracy. Look at Trump. That's democracy. You walk up to another country, you take democratically elected president of another country and make him a prisoner. That's democracy. Bomb Iran. That's democracy. Bomb Afghanistan. That's democracy. Kill Gaddafi. That's democracy. Wake up, African children. Wake up. Wake up.
Right. My people. What Joshua Maponga hey, wake up, African children. You know, to try and make you, my people, believe in nonsense. First of all, Zimbabwe. Let me say this. I have to repeat, I'm sorry Panapa during the day, and I say still watch this because we still have more, but watch this. I want to repeat this. Zimbabwe. Chinhu chinonzi democracy. Kureva kuti utungamiriri zvichindira noti wavhotegwa neruzhinji here. Although this concept have been popularized in the West, which at the same time are the same guys who colonized us, although it was popularized there, it's not a Western idea. It's a human being's idea. It's human nature. Kuti isu sevanhu sempakati se ruzhinji gweZimbabwe taverengana tikati in this geographical area tiri around 16 million people. So totungamirirana sei? And then umwe munhu Sir Joshua Maponga ari kuti ngatitongane, ngatisarudze mutongi pakati pedu anotitonga, anotaura zvaanoda, and his power is absolute, his word is law, and he or she is above the law, is the king. And it is true kuti Joshua Maponga, we know you and other people who are like you, other people who support you, we understand you lack self-determination. You are weak people. Bekuti, by yourselves, you think you can do nothing. You can achieve nothing. You need a leader who is there to monitor your life every day, to tell you what to do every day, to send a bank to save your money, to do whatever so that you can succeed. But we are saying that's not self-determination. Chinchino's democracy comes from the idea of self-determination. Kuti munu ne munu woga ari pasi pano, whether uri murungu, whether uri mu-African munhu ane ganda rakasvibira, whether uri mu-Chinese kana mu-Indian or mu-Japanese, une right to self-determination kudecide future yako iwewe pachako. Ndo chinonzi democracy. Kusarudza mutungamiriri wako iwe pachako. Ndo chinonzi democracy. And the good thing ndechekuti zvinoreva kuti vanhu whoever out there anofunga kuti akangwara, then kungwara kwako chikushandisa to reach to each and every individual ari munyika mako, ari muregion mako, ari mucontinent yako, or the whole world, so that you can, they people by their own choice, because wakangwara, because wavagona, because wavapedzera, because wataura something that they admire, that they accept, vachakuvhotera because wakangwara at the end of the day. Kana usingagoni kuita izvozvo, right? ndopateta kutaura zvana Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa vanhu vekuti chero vakauya kuvanhu vakataura zvanotaura, they are not able to convince the masses to vote for them, so they end up having to steal my elections. Kana wakadaro, so chinokuita kuti ufunge Emerson Mnangagwa kuti wakangwara kupfura Nelson Chamisa anoshandisa Bible, anoshandisa Christianity kuconvince millions of Zimbabweans kuti he is the right man to lead them. So Emerson wakangwara papi kupfura Chamisa, because you are using the military, you are using intimidation, the police, the government, security apparatus, security agents to intimidate the people, and the people don't love you, and the people secretly hate you. So wakangwara papi, because whatever you are trying to establish, you are going to fail. Even retired General Chiwenga, your own vice president, is standing publicly against you. So wakangwara papi, chirega wakangwara wapinde. Kana wana Nelson Chamisa wakangwara, chirega wapinde. But as we know, Chamisa wakangwara up to a certain level. I don't know why or how he ended up being convinced by ZANU-PF kuti support ZANU-PF, kuti sell out the struggle. Because a lot of Zimbabweans right now will tell you kuti yes, Chamisa wakatengesa. We believe it. But I'm Zimbabwean, ndisingadu kuti tiite dwell on one thing and end up not getting to other things. Let me get to the last story. This is good news, both from Zindawavan. We talk about everything. Something beautiful, something good, we are going to talk about it. So we are talking about something good, which is on New Zimbabwe. New Zimbabwe. Tirukuti Zimbabwe passes first International Monetary Fund program assessment, but risks remain. But Zimbabwe, this is a development that we have to acknowledge, respect, love, and spread. So, satapinda mnyaya irikutaurwa IMF panapa. Let's get into the story. IMF through New Zimbabwe. It's a newspaper. And the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has completed the first review of Zimbabwe's 10-month staff monitored program, SMP, projecting continued single-digit inflation while warning that economic risks remain. So, right, Zimbabwe, first of all, a single-digit inflation inyaya yezigi. Around January this year, 2026, taka report isusu pamzinda yevanhu taura about ZIG and its established and its newly end single-digit inflation status. So let's go forward. The milestone approved by IMF management following the successful implementation of program targets through March 2026 marks a significant step in Zimbabwe's efforts to consolidate recent macroeconomic stability, strengthen its policy implementation, record and advance arrears clearance, debt restructuring, and re-engagement with the international community. In a statement, the IMF said Zimbabwe's economy remained resilient despite a challenging global environment. So, despite a challenging global economic environment, Zimbabwe's economy demonstrated resilience, achieving a growth rate of 8.3% in 2023. 8.3 is big. I thought it was 5 point something. New Zimbabwe. And this performance was underpinned by improved agricultural output, strong mining activity, and favorable gold prices. The IMF projects economic growth to continue at 5% in 2026, moderating to 4.2% over the medium term, with inflation expected to remain in single-digit figures, contingent upon the maintenance of current macroeconomic policies. However, the fund cautioned that the country's outlook remains vulnerable. The outlook remains vulnerable, but risks are tilted to the downside. The IMF said, citing the potential impact of a significant El Nino weather event and renewed conflict in the Middle East. So, mrezi baba, hatisukuzopedza the whole article yatapiwa pa New Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwe's news you trust. Tikuda kuti murezi baba, of everything that is happening muno Zimbabwe, stay resilient, uri businessman, uri a worker working for a company right now, you know your plans, you know how much you're getting paid, your budget, and what you're planning. Stay tuned to that, stay in alignment with that. But when it comes to 30 June and days after that, we also want you to stay tuned to the fact that if we fix governmental problems, corruption, and everything, as a matter of fact, you can get paid 4 to 5 times more. As a matter of fact, on average, 5 times more than what you're getting right now. So, kana uri a civil servant, uri teacher, uri kuhora $250 right now. Think about this. The truth is that as soon as the government changes, someone who cares for the people enters the office, you can afford to get paid 5 times of that 250, which will be 1,250 to a nurse, to a teacher, to a doctor, to Mprisa, to a soldier, and all other civil servants. 5 times. As long as whoever gets into government cares for the people, the government will lose nothing. Because as of right now, the government's money is being given to tenderpreneurs, being given to my papa, to my prophets, being given to all of these guys just to manipulate people and keep people under control, under stupidity, etc. Mrezi baba, ndini wenyu super nexus. So as you can see, hanzi musati chikisa nekuti munochka. Hashtag fix the country. So this is an image that I got from Namatai Kwekweza on Twitter, now known as X. Musati chikisa nekuti munochka. Hashtag fix the country. So this image carries a lot of information, a lot of political information. Listen, Mrezi Zimbabwe. First of all, I want to say this. Varikuti chikisa ndivanani. And then somebody will pull up and say, all right, maybe you're talking to, members of the opposition, you're talking to people who are opposed to ZANU-PF, people who are in support of CAB, who are in opposition of CAB 3, but no, that's not true. This message is being given to ZANU-PF itself, is being given to ZANU-PF people, to people who are benefiting from ZANU-PF, from Mnangagwa's rulership. But ordinary soldiers, ordinary police, they're not involved in that category. So, they are coming to the ordinary Zimbabwean citizens. Vachiti vundusira, vachiti accuser kuti 31 July yakarongwa nembavha, dziri kuda kuluta mashops, dziri kuda kupaza mabanks, dziri kuda kupaza dzimba dzevanhu, dziri kuda kuita sei, which is a lie. 31 July yakarongwa nema-citizens of Zimbabwe kubva kuma council of churches, kuma opposition parties, to the ordinary citizens who approached, according to Reverend Mtata, the ZCC, which is the Zimbabwe Council of Churches, kuti, hey, we need leadership, kubva ku religion. Because that's the beautiful. That's why Mnangagwa right now, think about it. Ava vanonzi Reverend Mtata, he is a reverend wemu church. That's the only reason why, as of right now, Mnangagwa hasn't arrested him. So it's a beautiful thing when you see churches leading change in a country, because even the hardest of politicians, they have to be diplomatic when it comes to negotiating with church people, because they know kuti Zimbabweans are vanhu vekuchurch, vanhu vezvomweya, and if you were ever to offend Zimbabweans on a church level, on a papa level, reverend level, vanokupedzera, because they believe kuti Mwari vanenge vakutaura. So vana Mnangagwa, they're trying to be smart, but they are going to be outsmarted. So Zimbabwe, stay tuned. Pano pamuzinda vanhu, I want to thank all of you for being part of this live broadcast. I see now tapfura 1 hour tichitaura. Now tapfura 1 hour tichi spread a message of hope, of peace, of 31 July peaceful demonstrations. Now tapfura 1 hour tiri busy talking about a reality that is about to come, of a new Zimbabwe, a new people, a restored constitution and dignity to ordinary Zimbabweans. So, Mure Zimbabwe, regai tiri mapapa tikupei for the last time the video thumbnail, so that I speak about it for the last time. Mnangagwa Azonzi Dzvii. So takuza about the meetings arikutora nzvimbo within the deep state, ma meetings arikutora nzvimbo outside of the deep state, ma meetings arikutora nzvimbo anosupporta Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, because every Zimbabwean right now knows it. Although we might have Tendai Biti as the preferred leader of the opposition and the next president, or we have Love Maduk, because these guys have shown a lot of courage. They have stood by the people. Vana Reverend Mtata, they have led some of the most dangerous organizations at this kind of time. Yokuti Mnangagwa is hunting everybody. Vana Bekimpilo, Mbedzi, Vana Comrade Nyatsima Mtota, an activist, and a lot of other guys. Mnangagwa is targeting them, but then you have Sungano Ivan Pachayo, Vana Love Momaduk, Vana Tendai Biti, Vana Reverend Mtata, Vana Chakadaru, being openly the leaders of the revolution. That's massive. That's a lot of work that deserves to be respected by each and every individual Zimbabwe. So we respect you guys, and we say